Okay, time for another class. Ready? Go skate. Somebody, ready? And cursing each other. Good. Alright, let's just start loosening up a little bit. Get that back nice and loose. That to the side. And around in a circle. And the other way. Good. And shake out your head, your arms, your wrists. And nice and loose. If I just start bouncing a little bit. Get light on your feet. Get the blood flowing. Come on, keep going. Just move. Just don't stop. All right, Yame. Take a little breath. We're not that tired. Exhale, just go down. Touch your toes. And real tall. Stretch. And stretch. Good. Back to your side. Now lean back a little bit and then go to your side. Let's go the other way. And lean back. And go down and stretch. Good. Get your kiba. Those quadriceps hurt. Good. Lock your knees and stretch. Okay, you're going to twist. And touch your toe with your opposite hand. And switch. And down to the middle. All right. I feel nice and loose. Hopefully you do too. What I want you to do is take your right foot back and get your fighting stance. And I want you to be on an angle this way. You see my feet are on an angle? All right. Because what we're going to do is we're going to turn. Okay? And if my feet are too much on one line, I won't be able to keep my balance. And if I can't keep my balance, I can't deliver a good blow. So from here, open up your stance. So this would be an open stance. This would be a square stance. This would be a closed stance. Okay? When you're fighting, you can fight from whatever stance that you want. Everybody has their own style that they feel most comfortable in. Okay? But right now, we're going to work on that open stance. Okay? See how open I am now? All right? So even though I'm open, My body's not going to be open because I'm going to turn my body this way. Okay, so I'm still very defensive even though my stance is open. And from here, what I want you to do is just pivot and turn. Bend that front leg, straighten that back leg, keep your back nice and straight. Okay, and of course, this is a front stance or a Zen Kutsadachi. So I go from my core stance to my front stance. Core stance, front stance. Core stance, front stance. Okay, if you can get those two moves down, boy, you're going to have a terrific punch. All right, so let me just grab this for a second. We're going to pretend this is a baseball bat. Okay, now I can be a pretty good hitter if I step into it and swing. I can have a great batting average and get lots of hits, but I'm not going to hit too many home runs. Okay, home run hitters can start in a square stance or an open stance or even a closed stance. It doesn't really matter where they start, it's how they end up. Okay, so just like some baseball players like to have the bat resting on their shoulder, up high, swimming around. Okay, you fight the way that you're the most comfortable. Okay, because it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So from here, a baseball player who wants to hit a home run will step that way. That's where the third baseline is and left field. And then they'll turn their whole body into it. Okay? Here, and they step. And they're here, and they step. Okay? So I'm here, and I step. So just like hitting a home run, which is what I want to be able to do. So every time I punch, I want to hit a home run. Notice where my feet are. See that line? Okay? But I'm in my what? My Zen Kutsadachi, my front stance. So what I like you to do is have your hands up. If you start square, then you have to step to open up your stance when you punch. If you start on the angle here in an open stance, you're already there. So from here, we turn our body and punch and turn back. And punch and turn back. Let's do it with me. Turn and punch and go back. Now look at this elbow. As I'm turning, it doesn't fly away. It stays right there, and then I drive my punch in, and I come back. I punch, and I come back. If you had a sword, you wouldn't be doing this. Right? Wouldn't the sword go straight? And then I pull it out. I stick it in, and I pull it out. Stick it in, I pull it out. Okay? All right, and we're going to do the same thing with your punch. Just like you have a sword. Step in, punch, pull it out. Punch, pull it out. Punch, pull it out. Now, something that'll help you to throw straight punches would be this. First of all, my hand positioning, when I'm fighting, I like to keep my hands in front of my body, between me and my opponent. My hands are my weapons. They want to be out here. They're not helping you if they're down here or over here. Okay, this is very traditional here. Okay, but now I'm going to take that and put it in front of me. And then I'm going to punch and come back. Punch and back. Come on with me. Ready? Punch and back. Look, I can see both my hands. punch, come back. If someone's throwing a punch at me, my hands are not only my weapons, they are my shields. And they're ready to block. They're not ready if they're down here, or even here. Here. Okay, let's do it again. Turn your body, that knee bends, drive it in. Most of my weight is on this foot. You can see how my heel comes off the ground. Can you see that? That means that all my weight is on that foot. And that's where I'm going to deliver the most power. Okay? All right, same thing. Okay? If I'm here, my hands are here. Right? And then there's the attack. I turn, I thrust, I pull it back. I turn, I thrust, I pull it back. Okay, without the sword. And back. And back. And back. Right? See how my hips are turning in? My chest is facing the mirror. In fact, when I punch, I turn my hips so much that my chest is actually facing that way. Okay? And it not only delivers a little bit more power to me, but distance-wise. So if I'm here, how can I get more distance on my punch? All I need to do is just turn my hip. Okay, see all that extra distance I just obtained? And then I pull it out. So I punch, come back, and punch, come back, and punch, and come back. Now remember, when we punch, when we hit, we only hit with these two knuckles. Okay, they're the biggest knuckles of your hand. They'll do the most damage when you hit. Also, these two knuckles, they're reinforced by your entire forearm. These two knuckles here are very weak. Look at that. And if you hit something or somebody with this part of your hand, which is the way most people punch that don't have formal training like you do, then you're going to hit with this part of their hand. And the next day, their hands are going to be swollen about to there, all right? And they go, man, I don't know what I did. I think I broke my hand, okay? But that should never happen to you because your punches are going straight. You should always be able to hit with these two knuckles first. Very important. Very important. Okay? So, I punch and back. All right, now, a little thing. I'm going to face this way. Take your hands and just go down. You see that motion right there? When I punch, I want to have the same motion. And notice that when I'm punching to you, my punch is not a full twisting punch. My punch is a 3/4 punch. And by punching 3/4, it does a lot of good things for us. Okay? The first thing it's doing is and that allowing me to hit with these two knuckles first. Do you see that? If I twist my punch all the way, then I'm going to be hitting with this part of my hand. So you want to have these knuckles protruding. So when I punch about 3/4, not all the way, and that extends these two knuckles forward. And now since I'm punching correctly, my punch is traveling in a straight line. And we know from geometry that a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. So not only will your punch be very powerful, not only won't you hurt your hand when you punch. Your punch will also be lightning fast. Okay, so from here and out. Notice my hands are in front of my body. Punching and out. Punching and out. Punching and out. Punching and out. Notice that all that force is directly focused in that straight line right to my target. Okay, very, very important to punch correctly. Okay, all right, now, here's a drill that I'd like you all to practice. If you have something like I have, we can do it to that. If you have a wall or the inside of a door, you can do it there. What I want you to do is get in a horse stance, facing that way. Hands on my hip. I'm going to turn my body and punch. And now I'm going to turn my body and punch. Notice I'm in a what stance? A front stance. Notice my elbow isn't flying out. If my elbow leaves my body, this is what happens. Okay, my elbow leaves my body as I punch. This is letting me know it's not a very good punch. All right? So from here, I turn my body. Look how close I can get to this. Okay? From here, I turn and I punch. Notice that this foot is facing the direction I'm punching. And then I bend that knee to drive to get the power. And now I'm going to turn and punch. And turn and punch. And turn and punch. Hey, do it with me. Come on. Itch. Knee. San. Chi. Don't worry about the speed. Don't worry about your power. It'll all come if you're doing this correctly. Come on your own. Let me see you do it 25 times. I'm up to about 9 or 10. Okay, I'll give you another couple seconds. Go ahead. Okay, this drill you can do every single day. And if you can do this drill, your punches are going to become awesome. Okay, now, as I punch this, I'm going to punch it really hard. Well, that was pretty hard, but you know what? I didn't hurt him. In fact, I'm going to use Sensei Jody. So Sensei Jody, come out for a second. Okay. So, what I want Sensei Jody to do is turn around this way. Okay? Now she trusts me, I hope. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch her in her arm as hard as I can.
He's got to go to sleep eventually.
I've been waiting a long time to do this. All right, anyway. It's not going to hurt. All right? So here I go. I'm going to punch her as hard as I can. Ooh, I can't punch any harder than that. Okay, now watch the difference. Okay, look at me. Whoa! Did you see her head fly back? She felt all the energy, all my chi going into her. All right, so this is the secret about how to throw a really powerful punch. Okay? The more your arm is bent, as you make contact with your opponent, the more powerful your punch is going to be. All right, so this punch is going to be more powerful than this punch. And this punch is going to be more powerful than this punch. Even though I still can create a lot of power with that, it's not as powerful as if I was here. Okay? All right. So, my elbow, very important, is facing down. You see my elbow pointing down, not out to the side. Down. That's what we're working on. So I turn, my elbow still going down. Now watch this. Okay? I'm not even hitting her. Okay? I'm not using a punch. I didn't throw a punch. Look. There's no punch. Okay? I didn't punch. Okay? All the power came from what? From a horse stance. Okay? Here's my home run. To a front stance. Horse stance, front stance. Horse stance, front stance. So all my power is going forward. I would think about 50% of all the power you can create by punching, you can get by just turning your hip. Okay, well that leaves like 50%. Okay? Well, I think that about 10% of your power is with your arm. So just from my arm, here's my punching power. Okay? Now, I would rather have the 50% than the 10%. Okay? But we're going to get more because we're losing about 40%. So you get some little power by what? By exhaling, by breathing out. And the way that we make sure you're breathing out is by what? Hey! 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 By ki-ing. Okay? Gets all your power from your body into your opponent. Okay? So let's see. We have breathing. We have something called the marriage of gravity. What's that? Well, watch how my body sinks. See how it's sinking into the attack? So I'm using gravity to pull me in. So there's little things that you get some power, all right? But the majority of your power, let's say we have 30% left. Okay? Where does that come from? Okay, so if I throw my punch, it's out, I can't punch anymore, and now look at this. My body is turned forward, so I don't have any power with my hips. So my hips are out, my arm is out, and now watch. Okay? All right? Like a battery ram, right? Okay? The faster I run, my velocity, multiply that by my mass, equals power. So the faster you get from here to here, the more power you're creating. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this. I want Sensei Jody to just stand behind me and put this like on the back of my head, like that, like it's in the middle.
Oh.
Okay, it's just coming down like a
There
spike.
could be only one.
Okay, come on.
This one?
Yeah, no, just hold it straight up. Okay? So you see that line? All right. So now, from here, remember the drill that we did? We turn, we punch. Okay? Remember we just did that? We turn and we punch. Punch, we punch, we punch, and we punch. Okay. Now, watch the difference. Boy, did you see my body move off of that line? Okay? That's creating the power. In most sports, they'll tell you your leg drive is the most important thing. Well, we're doing the same thing here. I'm driving with my legs, driving my whole body forward. And if I can add this to this, to this, to hey, to that, what a fantastic, powerful punch you can have. Probably the most powerful punch that's ever been created since the beginning of time. Okay, is what we do in our style, which was handed down to us through generations, okay, from Okinawa. All right, so. Okay, all right, so watch. Here's what we're going to do. You can do this if you have a dummy, great. If you have a wall, doing against the wall, of course, you're not going to hit the wall very hard, not because you're going to hurt your hand, but you probably put your fist right through the wall. That's how powerful your punch is going to be. But anyway, from here, okay, I'm going to start by turning my hip in. And let's do that 10 times. Ready? Inch, knee, san, chi, go. Okay. One more thing that's very important. Let me have the both again. Do you have the both again? Okay. Sometimes these visual aids thank you, help to explain some of the things that we do. Okay. All right. So, if this was a gun, and I'm not a real big fan of guns, but if it was, and I was going to shoot you, then I wouldn't be aiming here, and then as I pull the trigger, I go like that. No, I'd be aiming right where I want to go. If this was a bow and arrow, I wouldn't be aiming here and then doing that. I'd be aiming it directly at my target. Well, I want to do the same thing here. Okay? Look at my hands. Here's my target. And look where my hand is aiming. I don't want to punch like this. I want to punch straight. So look. Can you see this is like a gun? Can you see it's pointing right at my opponent? And from here I turn and I go in. This is going to keep your punch very straight. And since it's traveling a shorter distance, it's going to be much faster. If I started my hand from here, the distance to my target would be about that far. Now watch. Now look where my hand is. Look how much closer it is to my target. So if my hand is half the distance closer to my target, the punch is going to get there twice as fast. It's just simple logic. All right? So we want to have our hands here when we punch. Wait for a second. All right, so from here, my hands are in front of me. My arm is pointing directly to my target. And now I'm going to turn my body and punch. Notice that my elbow is pointing down and my arm is bent. If my arm is straight when I hit this, there's no power. If my arm is bent, see the difference. All right, so from here, we turn, we hit, we come back. We hit, we come back. Now, unlike our training, when we're practicing from the front, when this hand comes out, this hand goes back to my hip, and this hand comes out, this hand comes back to my hip, and you would hear that noise of it rubbing alongside my hip. If it rubs alongside my hip, it's got to be a straight punch. If it comes out just a little bit, okay. Now, if I was going to get to some type of altercation, I'm not going to go like this. Hey! That's kind of silly. All right? I'd be going back in my fighting stance first. My hands, my weapons would be in front of me. I'd be turning my hip into the punch. And this hand is not going to come back to chamber. It's too important to protect me. Remember, this hand is not only my weapon, it's my shield. And if I put my shield down, I'm leaving myself open. So you always want to have your shield to cover you. So from here, when I punch, okay, I'm still going to get the same yin-yang effect, the push-pull, the opposites, but instead of pulling to my hip, I'm going to pull it back to here to protect my face. Okay? See where my hand is? See how it's coming back? And it's not only protecting my face, but it's ready to punch back. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so what would be one of the most important things to do to throw a good punch? All right? And the answer that I'm looking for is it's got to be traveling in a straight line. Now, there's no rule that says you have to start your punch from here. Okay? Right now, I'm starting my punch from here. Okay? And now from here, I'm going to draw a straight line from my fist to the target. And my punch is going to follow that, and voila. A nice, strong punch. In fact, I know some schools that teach punching with their hands down. They just come up and punch. You draw a straight line from your fist to the target. And there it goes. See, it's following the line. See how it's following the line? See how it's following the line? Now, I don't know when I get old and gray, like really old, okay, and this turns really white. Well, it's kind of white now. But let's say whiter and grayer than it is now, okay? And if my hair is completely white, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a jump spinning hook kick. But I know I'm going to be able to do this. And the older you get, the more power your chi develops, your lifetime. Okay? All right, so this one weapon, if you do it correctly, it'll last you for your entire life. So, we broke down the different principles of punching today. Okay? And what you need to do is practice. When I fight, I don't think about, oh, my hand's got to be here Okay, I gotta turn my body. No. From all the training, from thousands and thousands and thousands of punches that I've thrown, okay, it happens automatically. It's like riding a bicycle. You get on a bicycle, you just take off and go. You don't think about the mechanics, like turning the steering wheel or pressing this foot down and the other one comes up. No. Okay? That's because of your muscle memory. And the only way to create muscle memory is by training. Okay? So every day you could be practicing that punch. Now look, I'm not tired. Okay? I didn't work out today to get me physically tired. Right? What we did was all the exercises, doing them correctly. You don't have to do them fast. Add the punch in. Do this 100 times a day. I'll do it facing you so you can see what it looks like. Front stance. Turn. See how my elbow stays in. It didn't come away from my body. Front stance. Hitch. Knee. Look at my head. Look at me driving into the punch. San. Chi. Go. Keep your hand up here. Ruku. Shishi. Hachi. Ku. Hey! Okay. All right. So, study the video. Practice with the video. Try and copy your teacher. Copy my stances, copy my balance, and notice, okay, that I did that without losing my balance. Very important. All right. Practice hard until next time. Let's courtesy bow. And as we're bowing, we're really saying thank you. Because I wouldn't be able to teach you what I taught you today if my teacher, Hanshi Pizzi, didn't teach me. And he wouldn't have been able to do it unless his teacher, Mr. Pachivas, or Sensei Pachivas, taught him. And guess what? He had to have a teacher also, Mr. Trias. And Mr. Trias was taught by 3 teachers. Hey, we can trace our history all the way back hundreds of years. So when we turn and bow, we're really saying thank you so much for handing down all the knowledge that you've acquired through your lifetime to me so I can share it with you. Let's, till next time.